When the truth don't work, you start telling lies. Thought you were down to ride, you weren't down to ride. Caught switching, you were picking.
Alright, how's it going, everybody? I guess it's about, a little bit past 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm up because now I'm gonna post this video on YouTube also. So I live in Birmingham, Alabama, and here on Thursday night, the state executed a young man by the name of Nathaniel Wood, and he had been charged with capital murder in a 2004 incident where 3 police officers were killed. And the messed up part about this case, y'all, and I'm not going to go into the full details of everything that happened, but he didn't kill anybody. He was not the trigger man. They know he was not the trigger man. They have the person who pulled the trigger in jail that has, been charged. But Nathaniel Woods was charged with capital murder and executed on Thursday night at 9 o'clock. And I'm up because I had a hard time staying asleep knowing this happened. And there's several reasons why, okay? One of the main reasons is that we live in a place where a person can be charged with capital murder when they didn't murder anybody. Like that right there alone for me is just beyond comprehension. Like, I mean, not an accessory to murder or I don't know what other charge, but actual murder when he didn't murder anybody. If that's not something that causes you to kind of raise your eyebrow a little bit, then I don't know what is. One of the other things that has me kind of upset is, and please, I want you to hear me right now, okay? I really want you to hear me. If you're watching this and I say some things that you might not like or that might offend you, right now I really don't care, okay? This is a messed up situation. And what has happened is the state of Alabama has just legally committed murder. And it's nothing other than that. And the other thing that has me kind of messed up is the black people's response to this. Because I look up and I see people all over social media and and we've got to vote more and we've got to pray and we've got to do all this stuff, man. And listen, I'm a praying dude, okay? I 100% believe in prayer. But I need for people to understand this. Like, God didn't do this, okay? God didn't call him home. God didn't take him because he needed an angel in heaven. Didn't none of that. The state murdered somebody, okay? I want people to get this through their head. We got to stop this nonsense, man, that we're doing. And I literally see people, God needed a heavenly angel. And are you serious? So we're just going to ignore the fact that the man was murdered. We're going to say that God took him. That God needed him in heaven. Listen, cut that out. Okay? Cut that out. Just really cut that out. And if you want to get an idea of how crazy this whole situation is, I want you to go on your social media pages, and I want you to literally go to pages that are predominantly run by white people, and you will see what I'm talking about. For those of you who believe that this is just an injustice of human rights, you're sadly mistaken. This is 100% a racial divide right here. 100%. You go to these social media platforms and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see that there are literally white people who believe this man should fry, and even if he didn't do it, he knew about it, and he was a drug dealer. So listen, was the man a drug dealer? Maybe. I don't know him personally, so I can't say that fact. They say that the cops that were killed were crooked cops. I don't know that for a fact either. I don't know. I do know that he didn't pull the trigger. He did not murder anybody. That's all I know. And if he was doing a crime, selling drugs or doing whatever, he's already served 16 years. Okay? If that was the case, then hey, keep him in jail, a little bit longer, or whatever. Let him serve his time for the crime he did commit. But to charge him with capital murder, and he never murdered anybody, like, how is that okay? And how are people okay with that? And how are people, the answer to this is, we've got to vote. We've got to pray. And then what? Are we going to, see, here's my thing. We're voting for people who have the same agenda as the people who are already in office. So what's the difference? What's the voting and the praying? Please, and I want people to get this. I'm not against prayer. I'm not against voting. But if those are the only answers that we come up with, if that's the only thing that we're going to do, then we're in trouble. Because if we're not going to just stand up and say this is wrong, okay? For those of you, and listen, I'm not talking about any type of militant revolution type stuff or whatever, but I need people to understand that this was not a God thing. Real life devils in the flesh murdered a guy legally. That's what I want people to get. Real life devils murdered a guy for being there and charged him with murder. So if that's the case, if you can be charged with murder for just being there, I mean, you have cops that stand around and watch other cops beat people to death and everything else. Why aren't those cops that stood there being charged with murder? This is a blatant racial act, a modern day lynching of a black man. It's nothing more. Excuse me, it's nothing less. It's a lot more. What it does is that it shows us that in 2020, as black people, we are still being hunted down and lynched. I don't want to hear anything about him being a drug dealer, about him committing a crime, because he was in jail. So he was serving his time for the crime that he committed. And they murdered him while he was in jail. Mind you, the person who pulled the trigger is still in jail. And from what I hear, doesn't even have a date set for his execution. So this, for me, was a blatant kick in the face. It was, you know what, we're going to show y'all we can do whatever we want to do to you, whenever we want to, however we want to. We are going to take a man who didn't even commit the crime and we're going to kill him for it. And ain't nothing you can do about it. This is America. This is where we live. And like I said, if you got a problem with any of this, you don't have to watch the video, man. You can turn it off. It ain't for you. We've got to do something. And I'm open to any suggestions. But I will tell you this. Those of you who want to get on social media and beat people up about voting, and you want to tell people, you know, we've just got to pray, and you want to tell people that God is in control, that's no comfort for this man's family. It's no comfort for his family. Those are not solutions. We need solutions. And those solutions may include us standing up and saying, we're not going to keep taking this stuff from y'all. See, this is where it goes into a whole nother situation, because the same way people want to say that, you know, he was a criminal, he was a drug dealer, and blah, blah, whatever. Well, you know, the word is that these cops were crooked. The word is that they were out there doing crooked stuff. Okay? So this isn't, and I'm not finna sit up here and say, you know, somebody deserves to die. But I will say that if you live a certain way and you do certain things, guess what happens? You know, this is the kind of stuff that happens, okay? These cops, you know, were, you know, allegedly out there doing some crooked stuff, and they got caught up. And whatever. So the person who actually did the shooting, you know, was caught in jail, you know, waiting to you know, get, you know, whatever it is that he has to get for doing what he did. And, you know, it is what it is with that. But we're talking about a guy who did not do the murder, that was executed for the murder. Anybody that's okay with that is stupid. Anybody that's okay with that, as far as I'm concerned, is racist. If you're okay with this, if you're okay with this black man being killed for something that he did not do, that's racist. 100%. And what doesn't need to happen, see, I need to know where the leaders are at, where the black leaders are at. You know, just not too long ago, you know, thousands of people, you know, marched across the bridge in Selma. Where y'all at? Where's your outrage? Because I saw a lot of people on social media that was just so happy. You know, they participated in that. They did that. And, you know, I saw a lot of leaders on their social media talking about it and you know, and all this stuff. But you're silent now. And I just got a problem with that. Like, you're literally silent. I saw a couple of them that said, we need to pray, y'all. Okay, what's the prayer? Because I believe in prayer, but I also believe that prayer is a tool. And anytime you use a tool, there's an outcome, and it has a specific purpose. A hammer is used to hit things and to drive nails in the wall. So, what's the prayer? What are we praying? What are we saying? Are we praying and asking God for healing? Are we praying and asking God, you know, to make everything better? Or are we going to pray and ask God that the same way that they wanted this man to die for murder, are we going to pray and ask God that the same thing happened to the people that murdered him? Uh-oh. I might get in trouble for that one. I might get in trouble for that one, but that's okay. I understand, y'all. I get it. But anyway, that's my issue with this. That's what has me up right now, making a video. And I didn't want to do Facebook Live or anything like that because I want this on YouTube. I want this on Instagram. I want people to understand what happened because there's a lot of people outside of Alabama that don't know about this. There's a lot of black people that don't know, but I want you to see what's happening. That this guy was in jail. He was in jail serving time for crime. And he was still murdered, legally murdered. They played with us. You know, they issued a stay of his execution like 30 minutes before they were supposed to. And you know, people might think this is negative or whatever, but I knew it didn't mean anything because I knew our Attorney General and our Governor Kay Ivey, didn't care about any of that. From statements they previously made, they wanted him dead. And so I knew the stay was because a lot of people had called the office and a lot of people had sent letters and emails. So I knew the stay was just to get everybody to shut up for a minute. Y'all shut up. And while the celebration was taking place, they had no intention on doing anything. So 3 hours later, they still murdered him. And I don't call this execution, I do call it murder. Because he was a man who didn't commit the crime. It's murder. Like, I don't know what other definition you need of murder to call something murder, but it's murder. It's not an execution. You execute somebody who committed the crime. The guy who pulled the trigger, will be executed for that crime. Nathaniel Woods didn't do the crime, but he was executed. Excuse me, he was murdered. Or they call it executed. Nah. I ain't going for that. This has me really rethinking a lot of things. It has me trying not to have hate build up. I'm angry. I'm definitely angry. Really angry. Trying not to allow hate to build up. I know a lot of Christians right now are struggling. And to those who are struggling, let me say this to you. There's no need to struggle with your relationship or your walk with God, okay? Because I need you to understand that God didn't do this. God allows what man allows because he gave this to us. So this wasn't him. And this wasn't Satan as we've been taught in the church. This was done by real life in the flesh devils. And there's no other way to put that. If you've never believed of the devil in the flesh, I want you to look at our Governor Kay Ivey. I want you to look at our Attorney General. I want you to look at all these people on social media that are happy that an innocent man was murdered for a crime he did not commit. And you will see real life devils. So y'all can take from that, you know, whatever you feel like you need to take from that. But I will say that those of you who want to continue to just beat people up for voting, go ahead. You know, say what you say, do what you do. In this situation, you know, Kay Ivey wasn't elected governor. She was put there when the previous governor resigned. So, yeah, it's that. Take from it what you want, man. State of Alabama legally murdered an innocent man at 9:01 p.m. on Thursday. And if you're okay with that, screw you.